Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. It is 7:15, bright and early. I hope everybody is ready to get their day. Today is Wednesday. Honestly, it feels like a Friday. It feels like a Thursday. It does not feel like a Wednesday at all. But good morning, kid. You're my first person on this morning. How you doing? I'm waiting for my fearless co-host to join me. When's that surgery, Keith? I'll make sure I keep you in my prayers. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Wait a minute.
That's never good, right?
Well, Keith, is that a good thing? No surgery, is that a good thing?
It sounds like it's good to me. Anytime you don't have to have anybody cutting on you, that sounds good to me.
I'm trying to tell you, honey. But I'm doing good. How you doing this morning?
Oh, girl, I'm good. I was getting my praise on this morning, so that's why I was coming in a little bit, but it's all good. Yes, it is.
And
yes,
that's all right. I done got mine on this morning, too, so it's all good.
Ooh, yes.
I had those. You what?
I said it just sets your day in the right. Everything, right? It's not
every day.
Everything is just right. It's all about how you start the day off. I'm a firm believer in that, and that's. I mean, it takes you to a completely different
Before you get out the bed, you set your day with your mindset before you get out the bed. So let's have a good day, everybody. Well, I've had those cortisone shots before. I had one in my knee. First of all, I know I grew up a tomboy, but I was a cry baby when that homeboy stuck that needle in my kneecap. When I tell you, I promised him he would never see me again. I ain't never went back, and that's been over 4 years ago. Me and this knee been rocking ever since. Nope. No. Good morning, Chef Eric. How you doing? Good morning, Miss Logan. So I was just saying today is Wednesday, and I really felt like it was a Thursday or a Friday. And not in both knees. No, sir. You go ahead. I'm glad you can do that. I cannot, honey, at all.
Nope. Ooh, it's amazing, guys. We have to bear children. And it feels like any other pain you go through, I don't care if it's a toothache, it's like, Lord have mercy, that's so much worse, right? Oh, my knee, oh God, that's so much worse than childbirth. I guess because that baby makes it better, right? That baby makes the pain go away. You forget about that pain. But anything else, you'll be like, oh.
Yeah. Good morning, Tori. How you doing? Good morning, Cousin Joe. That's right. When you have a kid, you're like, oh my God, I will never complain about pain again. Then you had the kid and the kid's there. Honey, he whipped at that needle. I think I passed out on the table. I said, oh, Jesus.
Yes, Lord. Yes. All
right. You want to get started, Lynn? What's our quote for the day?
So our quote ties in very well with what we just talked about this morning. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And that's by Charles Swindoll. 10% what happens, 90% how you react to it. And so the question I want to ask you guys today, and I want to change it up just a little bit, but I was thinking about this, and I heard a video, and it helped to trigger some of these things from me. Tony Robbins was actually talking about this. He was talking about, when do people really start to live, right? When do people really start to live? And the answer that he gave was, people really start to live when you face death. Right? When we face death, when we're dealing with these different things in our lives that are going to push us. And I can speak from a very personal place, because I've lost a younger brother and a younger sister, and facing death and dealing with those things. And those were two very different experiences with them. For my brother, someone shot him in the back, right? Someone shot him in the back. So we didn't have the time to get in there and, talk to him. We didn't have the time to get in there and figure things out. It was all of a sudden. So all of a sudden we had to respond, right? Because you can't bring anyone back from death. That's final, right? And then with my sister, the difference in that situation, she developed cancer, right? She had been going back and forth to the doctor, and they couldn't figure out what was going on until like a few months, I guess. It was about 8 weeks before she passed when they told her she had cancer, right? So that was a different way. At least we had those 8 weeks now to respond. But what I want to say to you today, since we're talking about life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond, if this were your last week on this earth, what would you do? So this is going to help you to get a hump day today.
Hump day.
The last day that you're on this earth, what would you do? The reason I say that, guys, is because, and you hear this, and I don't want to sound cliche, but I was scrolling through my timeline, and you see all of the rest in peace and all of the condolences to the families and all the things that are happening. Guys, life is simply too short for us to continue to do those things blindly, to continue to walk through life blindly, to continue to just go through doing our day-to-day mundane activities and not really pay attention to what it is that we're doing on a regular basis. And this is one of the things I've charged myself with as I go through life. And I think about it, and that's one of the things I have placed this on a sticky note right at the top of my bed. If this is my last week on earth, what are the things I am going to do? Who are those people that I need to call that I haven't spoken to because of this little bitty minute thing, right? That's just kept me from talking to that person. And what am I going to say to these people? And I want you to think about those things. Think about those. Ask yourself those questions again, because life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond. And you don't want this to be your legacy where you wait, and we hear this over and over. People say, oh, I woulda, coulda, shoulda. I wish I had said this to her. I wish I had said that to her. It's too late. They're dead. They're in the coffin. They can't hear you. So how do we now change that? We have today. We start over today, right? Because life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% how you respond. So what are you going to do this day? If this were your last week on the earth, how are you going to change the things that you do? I had to woosah for a moment because I'm thinking about some things that I need to do differently. I'm thinking about some phone calls I need to make personally. I'm thinking about some things that I need to say to some people and say them the right way, because I know some of these people, sometimes when you go and approach them, and they come with their attitude, and then you want to get an attitude back, right? And
forgetting your purpose.
Yes, exactly. We got to prepare and go at things differently. So that's what I'm charging myself with on this hump day. I hope you join me in that, because life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to that.
Yes, ma'am. That was a great one for this. That was a great one for this morning. And I have my own views of that, but you want to start with your fearless money of the day? Your fearless money. How do I say? I always say it wrong.
The fearless financial minute. The fearless financial minute. It's okay. It can be fearless money too. It's all right, right?
That's right, Keith. We need to do it now.
Right. Why wait till you find out you have 1 week as opposed to doing it right now? It would seem more genuine.
Because people get egotistical. I got time, and then they forget we're nothing but a breath of air. We're a vapor. Here 1 second, gone the next, and they think they're gonna live every day. So they always put it off until the next time. When the next time may not come. And then you're left with the consequences of feeling like, oh my goodness, I should have handled that. And people, they forget that.
Right. Absolutely.
That's exactly right. All right, Lynn, go ahead and continue with yours for this morning.
All right. I'm going to kiss it this morning again. Keep it short and simple. Keeping it short and simple. So If we're talking about life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% how you respond, why are you struggling in your finances then? Why are we struggling in our finances? If it's 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we respond. I'm going to tell you why. You don't even have to tell me. I already know. Why? Because I've been there, done that, bought a hat and a t-shirt. But
girl,
number one thing is you can't prioritize. It's not that you can't prioritize, it's that you haven't prioritized your finances. Why haven't you prioritized your finances? Because we're in the state of what looks good to us now, right?
Woo!
What feels good to us now. It feels good to be able to go to the store, to the car lot, to the wherever, and buy that thing that we've been wanting. It feels good to do those things now. It doesn't feel good for us to now go back and look at our money and see, you know, and face the reality, right? Facing the reality of, oh, I only have X number of dollars, right?
Yes.
2 numbers in there in that bank account instead of 3 or 4 or 5, right? I only have X number of dollars in this bank account now that's going to move me. So why are you struggling in your finances? You haven't taken the time to prioritize. So that's number one thing. Number two, you're not sure how long it's going to take you to complete this process, right? If you go in and about budgeting, you don't know how much time you need to allocate towards budgeting so that you can ensure that you have the things set up that you need. You're not sure that you can build that emergency fund, right? How much time is it going to take me? You're not sure. That's number two. Number three, the number three thing is you don't know the process. You're not sure about the process to put these things into place. Yes, you've heard about it, you thought about it, you read about it, but you're not 100% sure about it until you are about it, until you do something about it. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So what you have to do. So how do you move from struggling in your finances? We've been talking about these little quick wins. Just get rid of that, what we call that mental tornado or that storm that's going on in your mind right now. Get rid of that storm in your mind and be intentional in setting up priorities, right? How are you intentional in setting up those priorities? It's just like when we think about time management, right? And that may be that's another issue for other people, right? Mastering your time, because you're quick to say, oh, I don't have time today. I don't have time to focus on my finances right now, right? I have all these other things to do, right? All of these competing priorities, if you will, if I can borrow from that term. So how do you set up priorities in your calendar? How do you set it up? One of the things that I've done to actually do this is I've set up blocks of time in my day or in a particular day in my calendar so that I can accomplish this. So I know that every Thursday night at 7 p.m. No, it's at 8 p.m. I have to look at my calendar to make sure I'm on time. But I know every Thursday night, once a month, I have set aside for me to sit down with my husband and actually look at our finances. Where are we on this? What has been paid off? What has not been paid off? What are our savings looking like? What are the things we need to do? What are we getting ready to invest in? When do we want to invest in this property? So we have an entire plan built out, guys, as far as what it is that we want to do. When do we want to have these real estate opportunities embedded within our plans? What do we want this investment portfolio to look like? So we've been very strategic at looking at this. It took some time to get here. You got to understand, we've been married over 20 years, okay? And we've only been doing this. Our baby is 7 years old, and it took some time to even get on point then. We've only been working on this for approximately 5 years. So let's just say the first 15 years. There's other that I can tell you about those first 15 years, but in these last 5, right, we are starting to get those things together. So why are you struggling in your finances? I ask you to go back and look at that. Take a deep, long, hard look at those things, because life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% how we respond. So how are you going to respond to those challenges in your finances? How are you going to now prioritize and set up an actual process so that you can visualize this, and not only visualize this, but implement it, take action day to day, so that you can now put these things in place so that you can see your income now going up, right? You're going into positive.
Right.
talk about your net worth now instead of being in the negative. And I dare you to go look at your net worth right now. Go figure that thing out. What is your net worth? If you have zero, you're doing good because you're doing better than over approximately 70% of Americans.
Yeah.
You're doing better than 70% of Americans if your net worth is zero. Because the majority of people are the negative net worth because they owe so much more than what they currently own. So that's keeping it short and simple this morning, kissing it, making sure that you recognize the fact, why are you struggling in your finances? And go in there and make those prioritize it and make those changes.
We will struggle until we sit down and address it and look at it. And I think that's the scary thing, or the overwhelming thing is like, man, last thing I want to do is sit down and look at this money. I ain't got none. So what am I looking at it for? How many people have said that?
Yes, yes.
These student loans say 108, comma, and some more numbers. Like, what I need to look at that for, Leah? I know I'm be paying for them forever and a day. And a lot of people are right there, but you have to realize you can do something about it and it will work. So you just got to stay faithful, be committed to it. And just like we want to lose those 20, 40 pounds, got to be committed to losing that dead weight in your finances too.
Absolutely.
That is for sure. Lynn, read the quote for me one more day, and I'll finish up for the fearless thought of the day.
Sure. This is by Charles Swindoll. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Right. So Lynn's question was, when are we going to start living? And most of us think that we are living. Like, you get up, you take care of the kids, you go to work, you come home, you take care of the kids, you watch a little football, basketball, whatever your vice is, you watch a little TV, you go to sleep, you get up, you do it tomorrow. And then the weekend come, you're going to sleep till about 8:30, 9 o'clock, because we're older now. We think we're sleeping late, but we don't. It's like 8:30. You up, and you're going to clean the house, take care of the kids, do little stuff that you weren't able to do Monday through Friday. Sunday, you're going to feel like I can't go to church because that's my only rest day. So you're going to lay around the house on Sunday. And then Monday, we start the whole process all over again. But are we truly living? So let me tell you a story. Lynn talked about facing death and talking to people that you need to talk to today. So I had a death moment when my abuser tried to kill me and several times. And so when I left, two things that I did, and I realized that I was not living. I'm a nerd. I've said it a gazillion times that I love books. So he took my books away. I was not allowed to read books. So the very first day I left, hours after I left, I told my friend, please take me to the library. And I went to the library and I sat in the corner and I was just excited to be in the library. I was like, now this is living. To get in here, I can read whatever I want. It may be nerdy, but hey. And then the second thing was, and I'm going to encourage you to do it today, even though it's cold outside. I want somebody to come back and tell me y'all did this today. The second thing is, he was a smoker. So we used to have to ride with the windows up all day long. We never had the windows cracked. And I was like, as soon as I leave, I'm going to ride with the windows down. And when I left, when I tell you I stuck my fingers out the windows and let the air go through my fingers like I was a kid, you know how you do the wave like this? I ride with the window. Most people now like, why do you ride with your windows down? Because that's living to me. That's freedom. I get to stick my fingers out the window, do the spirit fingers, let the air flow through. So today, I encourage you for your fearless thought of the day. Are you really living? Let's look at one thing you used to do that gave you great joy that you don't do anymore because maybe it's been pushed to the back burner or life has taken over. And for me, it is rolling my windows down and letting my fingers out the window. When I tell you, that just excites me to no end. And here's the thing, y'all. We all may be 40 or some of us in our 40s. Yeah, spirit fingers keep Some of us are in our 40s, but inside, I'm still the 7th grade girl back at Cool Springs and Forest City. I'm still Gerald Waddell's little girl riding bicycles on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Street. You know, we're still that little kid inside. So today I encourage you, your fearless thought of the day, your fearless action for Wednesday, that hump day to help get you over is stick your fingers out the window. Find that joy of the one thing that you forgot that you enjoy doing. If it's skating, if it's bowling, if it's laughing, if it's whatever, do that today. Even though it's cold, I'm going to let the windows down this morning. I'm going to pump up some little music, you know, because I think I can sing. And I'm going to do my spirit fingers. Because that's it, Keith. I know it's cold. We just for a few minutes, man. Now listen, so Keith is a soldier now. What are you talking about? It's cold.
I'm all the way with you, Keith. It's too cold. I'm not letting my window down. So yeah, on that.
Y'all better let that window down. Okay, Keith, can we just crack it and stick a few fingers out there? All right, guys. I just encourage you to do. He said he refused. I encourage you guys to just try something. Lynn, you sticking them fingers out the window as soon as I call you. Yes, let the wind blow through my. Let me tell y'all something. The first time I rode in a convertible, I rented a convertible, and it was candy apple red. And let the top down. What? Child, you couldn't tell me nothing. And then I had some hair too. Oh, Lord have mercy. I had fingers in the wind. My hair was in the wind. I couldn't drive for putting fingers in the air. It's okay. That's what it's all about. You got to find something that's going to bring you joy. You have to, because if you don't, you're going to get caught up, and then we're going to be in the same cycle. When you start to allow things to bring you joy in life, your mindset will change. The good Lord did not want us to be miserable our entire lives. He did not want us to suffer our entire lives. So you've got to enjoy the stuff that is around you. You have to. There's no other way around it. So, all right, guys, that was our Fearless Morning Show for today, Hump Day Wednesday. Remember, it's 90% on how you respond to the 10% that's going on in your life. And when you think about that, Lynn, yeah, I see your pictures, Keith. I see you be cooking late night. When you think about it, it's that 10%. The 90 is so much greater than the 10, but we're focusing on the 10. Sherry, I forget her last name. I'll show y'all the book later. She wrote a book, and it was talking about stop spending your time on 10% of who you are, and it's called Exponential Living. That book is amazing. And I can't get, for real, I ain't got past chapter 4 because I keep rereading chapters 1 through 4 because I get so much out of it. But just when you think about the 10%, how small that is compared to the 90, then you're going to be like, now what was I tripping on for real? So focus on the bigger part, not the smaller part that you're allowing to rule your world. Okay.
Absolutely. Just like Keith said, his thing is cooking, my thing is singing. Even though I don't sing as well as I used to, but all it takes for y'all is I'll go in and I say, God is good, yeah, all the time. And I go back to that old school with it. Lord,
yes,
mercy.
Girl, we need the tambourine.
It gets me out right with my tambourine. Trust him, he'll be good to you. All the time. Good to me.
Amen.
Yeah, God is good all the time.
Sing it, Lynn.
Right. It'll get you right.
Amen, girl.
Get by myself somewhere in the corner and let it go. That's right. It's the Fearless Morning Show, y'all.
It's the Fearless Morning Show. I want everybody today to tell us what brings you joy. That's right.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you right, Keith. Create a true and honest budget. That is true. And pay yourself, and you'll find, man, you right on it. Because when I started doing that, I was excited. Like, let me do this more often. So I had to get that. And you're right, Cousin Joe. Happy feet. And don't let us get the happy feet. That's what. Keith, I can't sing either, and you know what? It's okay. We sing anyway. So I encourage y'all for the fearless thought of the day. You got your fearless financial moment. I encourage you to go back and find that one thing that just brings you joy. Remember that 90% is so much greater than that 10. So tell us today what you're going to do today. Are you going to stick your fingers out the window, even though it's cold? Are you going to sing that song like Lynn was so we can break out the tambourine? What are you going to do today with that 90%? I want to know what somebody's doing today. Yeah, that paying yourself should be included in your budget. It is definitely a part of that budget.
Absolutely.
It has to be. Get it done. You got to do it. Ain't no way around it. Period. So treat yourself this holiday season. Lynn, with the budget toolkit, the 4-day challenge, you want to tell them where it is, Lynn, and we will close out the Fearless Morning Show.
Yes, I will. Guys, if you want the budget toolkit, it'll help you get started. It takes you through. At the beginning, there is some reading. It talks about facing your finances and what are the things you need to do to make sure that you stay on track. But if you can go to 470, if you text me at 470-236-8282. Oh, you cooking a filet mignon for your 90%? Yes, yes, and yes. What is your address? I will be there.
Send us something. You know, at our next event, why don't we have Chef Keith come and cater our stuff for us? There we go. We're keeping it in the family, Keith.
All the way, all the way. So yes, budget toolkit. Text me 470-236-8282. I'll get that over to you. And if you're ready to do the work, and I mean seriously ready to do the work, you can join the Develop Your Financial Confidence Challenge. It's a 4-day challenge. It will be delivered to your inbox, to your emails. There's audio and video, as well as a workbook that you will need to download to complete and actually do the work. It'll help guide you through the work, guys. Like I said, it walks you through the process, but you have to do the work. It does you no good. Don't waste your time getting this information if you're not going to use it. Don't waste your time sending out anything if you're not going to do it. But if you're sincerely ready to do the work, get yourself all the way right. You don't have to wait till a ball drops on January 1st. You are here today. Ma'am. You are alive today. Get your stuff together. Start putting those steps putting everything in place, if you will, so that you can go ahead and make the steps that you need to make. bit.ly/financial confidence strategy. Life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond. How are you going to respond? Are you going to take action? Are you going to bit.ly/financial confidence strategy?
Yes.
I'm waiting on you.
Oh, I was going to say, we
no,
got
I
to be
wasn't talking about you, JoJo.
My bad, Lynn. She waiting on y'all, honey. I done got my budget toolkit. I done got my toolkit together. And let me tell them this about the budget toolkit. When you open it up, don't get scared. Because when I opened it up, I said, what she want me to? Now, this way too much over here, Lynn. By the time I was clicking them tabs, I was like, girl, she got to be crazy. So when you open it, don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it scare you. Ask her some questions and she will help you get it together and all the way right. I promise you, she will. She will do that. That's right, Keith. You have a good day too. Go take that shot like a champ. Look at it, because I ain't looking at it. He said he don't look at the needle. I know I wasn't looking at. I ain't even going to be there to even think about looking at the needle. So you go ahead and do that for us. All right, guys, that's it for the Fearless Morning Show today. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow morning for Thankful Thursday. If you need anything, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, on all social media. Yamitra, JoJo, and Lynn is, go ahead, Lynn.
I'm Demon Speak on Instagram and Twitter, yes.
So if you have any questions, just let us know, and we will be glad to help you. Remember today to focus on that 90, not the 10. Do something fun. I want everybody tomorrow. Everybody's on here. Cousin Joe, Keith, the other ladies, come back and tell us what you did today.
Yes.
about your 90%. I know we know Keith already is cooking. So I want to know what everybody else is doing. I'm going to stick my fingers out the windows and sing a song. Lynn going to get her praise on in the corner. So we got it set for the day. All right, guys, y'all have a great day, and we will see you bright and early in the morning. Have a good one.
Signing off.
Bye.